Hello everybody, Shinjo here. Welcome back to Let's Talk Anime episode 74. So it's been a while since I have recorded for Let's Talk Anime. Just to give a frame of reference for the last time that I recorded this. The last time I discussed the first part of Dan Da Dan last year. So in a way it's partially that I have been struggling to watch stuff to discuss. But also that my frame of reference is just shot. It's hard for me to find time to record stuff, but I'm not gonna waste any time with that because I'll save that for an update video that's probably already out. But let's jump into this. First up is Mecha-Ude. So it has been a while since I watched this. I remember that I watched the first episode, I believe, when it initially came out, and then I just never came back to it until I watched the next 2 episodes because my 3 episode minimum for this series. And the positive that I can say is I wrote down that the art style is really neat. Oh yeah, it was like a sort of Trigger-esque sort of vibe. Because I remember it looked similar to other shows that Trigger did, like Kill la Kill in a way. Because it's not really like the simple, polished anime style look that you would expect from most anime. So that's a positive, in my mind at least. Unfortunately, all I can say for the show is it's honestly unmemorable to me. I can't really remember much of the show even after watching it months ago. And I wrote that down on my notes, and that was probably 3 months ago that I even wrote that. I remember that the main dude, I can't even remember his name, gets like a metal arm. There's characters that are basically Jesse and James. I mean, and that kind of goes into my second point. The main character himself is bland to me. If I can't even remember his name, I feel like it's something super on the nose. Like, for example, I can't remember which Digimon it is. I think it's Digimon Ghost Game, where the main protagonist's name is Hero. Obviously, it's spelled different, but to have the main character's name be Hero is really on the nose, and I feel like it's similar with Mecha-Ude. I could look it up, but I'm recording a video. But it's one of those things where I didn't really care much of it, and I don't really remember much of it after watching it now, or after discussing it now, I should say. But if I go back to watch it, I may enjoy it. But if I remember correctly, it's an anime original, so I don't know. It's also one of those things where if I take too much time away from watching it, then I could lose all momentum of being interested in the show in the first place. If anybody watched it and finished it all the way through, let me know what you think about it. I personally don't think it's going to change my mind on watching it, but it looks neat at least. And the next thing that I have on my list is My Hero Academia Vigilantes. So it's funny, first of all, that this video is going to come out when the last season of original My Hero is coming out. So it has been, when was it? I think Vigilantes did come out this year. To be honest, like I said earlier, I can't remember anything about time. I don't remember when things happen. But anyway, Vigilantes. So I personally really like Vigilantes. It gives me vibes on what the original season was, where it's just a simple concept, really simplified down to just a setting. And in my opinion, I like Koichi as a better protagonist than Deku. Obviously, it's hard to say in hindsight because it'll be easier to compare them from the first seasons, but now with seeing Deku through multiple seasons and getting all these extra quirks and just kind of getting them seemingly out of nowhere where they really weren't hinted at before unless I missed it. But I just like how Koichi has a quirk, first of all, so it's not a sort of generic thing with My Hero and Black Clover where they don't have the standard power system that everybody else in the universe has, but they have something similar or something to counter it in Black Clover's case. But I like how Koichi has a quirk, but it's not something that you would typically use for combat. I do still appreciate the underdog story that Deku has to an extent, but like I mentioned before, it feels like Deku gets handed things later on in the season. Just seemingly out of nowhere, in a way. Now, I don't want this to be a constantly bashing Deku video, but I do like how Koichi has a quirk that is useless, but he still uses it. It's a bit of a difference, but obviously it's easier to say that a simplified story for one season of Vigilantes is a lot more simple than something that's complex like My Hero where the whole world is in peril. Obviously, to an extent, Vigilantes, the world is in peril to an extent, but it's really confined to the main city that they're in. But overall, not to just constantly talk about Koichi, I also really like Pop Step. I will tell you, the episode where they revealed that Koichi wasn't able to get his hero license because he saved Pop Step and he didn't know it was Pop Step, that honestly floored me because I didn't expect I guess plot twist like that, if you can even call it that. But I just like Pop Step as a character. Plus the fact that, in a way, it's almost like she's a YouTuber, even though she kind of isn't. She is in that sort of idol sort of thing where she's honestly kind of shy in real life, which I like that contrast. And of course, I can't even stop discussing this enough to bring up Knuckle Duster. I think Knuckle Duster is easily the highlight of the show. He honestly is a more rough and gruff vibe of All Might, which I'm sure that was what they were going for because Koichi is to Deku and Knuckle Duster is kind of like All Might because he literally uses his fist to solve everything. But I just like Knuckle Duster, and the story that they took with him and everything going on was just really good. I don't want to spoil it. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend watching it. Now, I do feel like it's fair to give criticism with Vigilantes, even though a lot of it I was hyping up. What I will say is the first part of the show, or the first half of the show, is kind of setting things up. Now, obviously, it's important to set things up, but it just felt, to an extent, that things weren't really happening. It didn't really bother me much, but it did kind of feel like a lot of filler in the first part, where the second half felt super loaded with content, honestly to an extent where it felt a bit overwhelming, because you had the big performance on the roof and everything going on with Knuckle Duster. It just felt a bit much. But I don't know. I'm not a director. I'm not sure how you would space it out better besides giving it 2 cores. But overall, I enjoyed it. It just felt like the second half of the show was a bit more loaded with big things happening. But finally up, and the most recent that I've watched from these 3, is Clevatess, which I'm honestly upset that the title on the poster isn't written in English, because I've tried to spell this show and I cannot figure it out. I feel like I have it right on my notes, but I don't even know if I have it right. I'll look it up when I post this, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, Clevatess is more recent, and in a way, I did enjoy it. The one thing that I wrote down for a pro is it's not an isekai. And that seems like a bit of an odd thing to bring up, but when you've gone through seasonal anime after seasonal anime and see, here's another isekai, we're transported to another world, it just gets to be a bit much. Obviously, there are some exceptions. While it's not exactly an isekai, I did enjoy Bofuri. I know the term isekai is loose with that show, but there are some exceptions to isekai that I do enjoy to an extent, but it feels like everybody's trying to do the same thing, so it's kind of weird with shows like this, and while it's a bit of a higher extent free run where it's just a fantasy and that's it. But the show itself, I did enjoy. But it's weird that I enjoy it, but there is something about the show that isn't fully grabbing me yet. I don't know how to explain it. I like the show. I like... Crap, what's the blonde hair girl's name? I want to say it's like Elisa, but I don't know if that's right. Whatever, the blonde hair girl, I like her as a character. I think it's good to have a character like her that's super honorable, super noble, especially when you have the big beast Clevatess, who's just kind of, quite frankly, a troll. So I really like that dynamic. It's just that I'm not entirely sure where the show's going after 3 episodes. There's a lot of stuff happening and a lot of people that they're meeting, and I'm not sure exactly how to take Clevatess, the character, not the show. It just feels like Clevatess is just looking around and, in a way, judging humans and seeing how they act. And I don't know if there's necessarily going to be a payoff for that. Honestly, I may keep watching it to see if it grabs me even further, because if it does, I could see it being a top 10 or even an honorable mention from this year. But I don't know. It could be that I'm not sure where the show is going. It could be all the gore. I'm not sure what it is. Something about the show isn't fully putting me on board with watching it fully yet. But then again, there have been other shows like that. For example, Toilet Bound Hanako is a show that I don't go out of my way to watch, but when I watch it, I enjoy it. Maybe something similar to that. But I think with all of that, I will just say, if anybody's seen Clevatess, or I guess it's not finished yet, is it? If anybody's further than 3 episodes into Clevatess, which I feel like most people that are watching this are, let me know if it kind of solves those issues that I have. Because it just feels like a lot of stuff happening, and I feel like it'd be one of those shows that takes place over multiple seasons, especially as the kid grows up. But I think that is going to be a good enough spot to end this. I feel like I say this every time that I record either this or other videos. I am super out of practice, so if I stumble over my words or say things incorrectly, it may be because of that, it may be because of my lack of sleep or inconsistent sleep. But if you have any reactions, nope. If you have any things for me to discuss for Let's Talk Anime, leave them down in the comment section. To be quite honest, I think I might discuss Horizons after the Mega Evolution specials come out. I feel like that would be nice because it would give context to how Roy got the Lucario, and I'll save that discussion for another time. If you hit that, if you enjoy, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Momentai.